Hey there, my name is Brendan. Come join me for a 2-day bikepacking trip down the Speyside Way along the Moray coast and back to Grantown-on-Spey via the Dava Way. This is a local ride for me. I'm doing it really to check out the new trek. Check out SL5 before taking it on some bigger motor bikepacking trips.
The Moray Triangle is a 2-day bikepacking route using a mixture of quiet back roads and long-distance footpaths, including the Speyside Way, the Moray Coastal Trail and the Dava Way. The first section out of Grantown follows a very quiet back road and doesn't use the actual Speyside Way itself, which is a little bit too boggy and too many gates, until it gets to Ballindalach. And that point it actually gets onto the Speyside Way itself and follows this lovely gravel trail using the line of an old railway past lots of whisky distilleries as it runs down into the next town of Aberlour, where you can stop and pick up lunch and coffee. It then follows along with a short detour to go and see the Great Bridge at Craigachley before again staying on quiet tarmac roads. It climbs up onto the shoulders of Ben Aidan before picking up some forestry trails and then a nice descent. Watch out for the turn off onto the single track on the way down and farm trails before you have a little tricky crossing over railway line, and then it follows quiet B roads running, or not even B roads, but little quiet roads running into the town of Faughhabers, where you then will cross the Spey again and pick up a back road down towards the town of Garmouth, where you can go and have a look at the old railway bridge, which has now collapsed, meaning that you have to make that detour. Once at Kingston, you try and pick up one of the tracks that runs along parallel to the coast, which are pretty hard going and pebbly. I broke off at that point there to use forestry roads rather than sticking on the coast, and then a B road that brought me into the outskirts of Lossiemouth, past a big RAF base, and then onto a rather busy and fast B road running towards Hopeman, where I was going to get some fish and chips and sit at the beach before finding a campsite for the night near Cumston, which gave 97 kilometres of riding and about 900 metres of ascent. For day 2, you start off following the line of the Moray Coastal Trail on a beautiful bit of tarmac, then through the lovely wooded trails in Rose Isle. I broke off rather than following the Moray Coastal Trail the whole way onto quiet back roads, and actually followed part of National Sustrans Route 1 to Kinloss and then beyond up towards the town of Forres. A little bit of fun and games getting across the railway line there, and also trying to find a place to have breakfast. I found a very good Greg's at a petrol station before through the town and then picking up the line of the Dava Way, which is an old railway track in most parts, of there are a few bits which aren't, which provide some steeper climbing, and then climbing up and out, heading towards the Dava Moor. Just be warned, there are absolutely no villages or shops or anything like that in this route, so you need to have everything with you for this section. Before getting up onto the open moor of Dava, where don't ignore the cyclist detour sign at Dava, like I did, because you'll have to backtrack. Again, heading towards Dava summit, and then you drop down in towards Grantown-on-Spey with some lovely single track and trails before coming in the top of the town and finishing up in the town square, which gave 67 kilometres of riding or so in about 600 metres of ascent. So just a word on the gear before we get going. So as I say, it is a Trek Checkout 2026 SL5. It's a full carbon frame, it's got suspension, all that, but you can check out that on the Trek website if you like, but it's a bike optimised for bikepacking adventures. On the front I've got specialised harness, and in that I've got my sleep system and waterproof jacket there for ready access, because it is not a great forecast for the next couple of days.
head mount, and managed to get a light on there as well. Custom frame bag by Trek and Topo Designs. It's really good. It's got my tent, it's got my first aid kit and repair kit, which is all a bit more than I need for this trip, but purpose of it is to make sure that everything works. And then the top tube, I've got this bento box. It's got lots of food in it, but the thing I really want to try is this holder for the mobile phone at the top, so to help with navigation I can have my Ordnance Survey maps there for when the navigation on the Garmin head unit isn't quite good enough, which is sometimes the case when you're navigating those forest trails and you really need the detail. And on the back I've got an Ortlieb dry bag. I think that's a 12 litre version, mounted onto the integrated rack, and that's just got cooking system in it, spare clothes, some swimming gear because I'm going to be at the beach tonight and might be nice, hopefully, and a pair of sandals and towel and things like that. For hydration, I've got one bottle there mounted on the rack, and just what I'll do is I've got the hydration pack, which I prefer when I'm riding off-road because you don't get dirt or anything like that on the hose or on the nozzle which you drink from, which you can get with frame mounted bidons. But to keep the weight down, that's just got a litre and a bit in it, and what I'll do is I'll top that up regularly from the bidon on the frame as I need it. Got a light. I've got lights at the front and back because I will be riding on the road for sections of this, and I like to have that visibility. And then coming around to this side, I've got another little cargo cage there, bottle cage with cargo holder, and that's got arm warmers and long gloves and other little bits and pieces that I might want to access quickly. So that's the setup. Don't ask me how much it weighs, I have no idea. I will weigh it all properly some point. So it was raining this morning quite heavily, but as forecast it's dried up a bit, and hopefully just a few showers now. It's quite cool and cloudy, shouldn't need any sun protection particularly, and hopefully the midges will not be there down the coast. But let's get going. First stop is going to be Aberlour. So we just completed the first climb out of Grantown on the back road that runs along the north side of the Spey, and the Spey is way down below us, and we can see the Cromdale Hills over on the side. And yeah, the first sort of 15k or so is on this back road because the Speyside Way itself isn't really suitable for riding, even with a mountain bike, because there are a lot of narrow gates on it and it's quite muddy as well. So we actually pick up the Speyside Way further down near Ballindalloch, and after that it runs right along the side of the river on an old railway line and should be a bit flatter. So we're now at the point where we leave the lovely quiet B road behind. It's got to be one of the nicest bits of B road in Scotland. There's just no traffic on it, it's a bit up and down. And we get onto the Speyside Way properly itself, so the suspension is opened up, the lights are turned off, and I'll see if it can stay clipped in or not. But it's pretty nice, the Speyside Way, pretty flat, follows the old railway line from here. And yeah, looking forward to getting lunch in Aberlour. Just past my first distillery, Tamdhu. I think I got a bit of the Angel Share. Its path goes pretty much right through the middle of the distillery, and you can see the line of the Speyside Way follows an old railway line, and they built it to basically for a lot of the distilleries along the River Spey, and Tamdhu, like a lot of them, had its own station, which we can see here. So passing 6 miles to Aberlour now, so not long till lunch. Here we are in Aberlour. It's lovely sun come out just in time for lunch, and nice sandwich from the co-op and a coffee in the town square. Now on to the next part of the route, which we follow the Speyside Way as far as Fochabers, and then we'll have to leave it for reasons I'll explain in another clip. The complexion of the route changes now. That last bit of Speyside Way was gravel perfection, smooth, fast, quiet, no gates, absolutely fantastic, with lovely views as well. Next bit, we follow the Spey for a bit and then climbs up onto the kind of northwest shoulder of a hill called Ben Aidan, and contours around that on forestry roads. So we'll see what that's like, but it's definitely got some climbing in it, and it's going to be in the trees and have a little bit different flavour to it, I think. And the last, we're leaving the railway, line of the railway behind now, until we drop down at come into Fochabers. Okay, now we'll get going and speak to you later. So it's not on the route of the Speyside Way, but it's just a very short detour off, and it's a quarter of a mile, to the Thomas Telford Bridge at Creek Alley, which is a fantastic iron lattice work bridge over this gorge, and yeah, opened in 1814, it's over 250 years old, and it's traffic now, but it's certainly open to bikes and foot passing, so definitely worth breaking off and coming and have a quick look at this. Unfortunately, it started raining, but I think it's just a shower that's going to pass pretty quickly. Looking back up the Spey, we'll be leaving it now and picking it back up at Fochabers. So we're not far from Creek Alley and the bridge back on the Speyside Way, and we're at the point where the Speyside Way forks, and there's one leg stays with the Spey, goes to Fochabers, and the other leg heads up into the hills, and we want to take the leg that's going to Fochabers. We can finally see the Moray Firth down in the distance. Here we're on the shoulder of Ben Aidan. Oh, it's been a pretty tough climb so far, and there's still a bit to go. 2 more climbs left according to the Garmin, but we're getting there. Should give a pretty fast run down into the coast. Well, just had a pretty fun descent off Ben Aidan. It's quite a technical bit of single track. Well, that was a surprise. A little bit of tricky navigation at Boda Brig, trying to pick your way down off the bottom of the hill and over, well, underneath a railway line, an active railway line. But once you go through that, you're immediately confronted with a really steep climb, which, according to the Garmin, was 18% in places. I had to push. The couple of hairpins, but yeah, bit of a unexpected That was climb 6 of 7, according to the Garmin. Let's hope the 7th and final one is not like that. Well, I just stopped because there was an information board saying short walk along this path to enjoy some of the best views of the River Spey. So, got to do that. The sun is out again after a little shower. Whew. And we're about 55k into the ride. Which gives us, depending on how far we go tonight, about over 40k or another couple of hours of riding. Plenty of time to do that. This is very lovely, beautiful Scots pine wood. So here we are in just in Fort Albers, crossing the Spey for the last time today, for the last time on this trip. And we'll leave the Speyside Way here. Normally you'd be able to continue all the way down the Spey mouth and Yarmouth. But unfortunately in January, early January this year, the old railway bridge that provided a crossing over the Spey there collapsed and is shut and is not going to reopen. So if you want to head west from this point, you've got to cross the Spey here. Fortunately, you don't have to go to the high road bridge over there. There is the old bridge which they've turned into a very nice cycleway, which takes you across without having to deal with all that traffic. It's lovely. The afternoon is turning really beautiful. So nearly at the coast. Next stop. In fact, next stop the coast and Garmouth. And there we can see the broken span on the old railway bridge across the Spey. It just collapsed earlier this year. We'll go and get a closer look at it. Well, there we are. The bridge is definitely out. That's as close as we're going to get to the mouth of the Spey today. Just ridden a pretty tough section along the Moray coastal path from Kingston-on-Spey coming up to Lossiemouth. I'm just turning into the woods now, away from the coast, because it's not clear from the map if you can actually get all the way to Lossiemouth, at least on a bike. Looks like it's quite like sand dunes that you might have to ride over, which could be not too much fun. So turning inland and seeing how we're going. It is 6:24 and we've done about 75k. I think it'll be fish and chips in Lossiemouth, and then see when we get to about 8 o'clock we'll start looking for a pitch. The weather's still holding up, a bit more overcast now, but it's been a pretty fine day. Right, fish and chips. Hopeman! Yay! Well, I made it to Hopeman and had some fish and chips, but now I'm going to go and find a campsite because it's getting pretty late. I'm just riding on a lovely back road, and this runs parallel to the B9089 and it's much more pleasant. Kind of bypassing Kinloss and Findhorn, just heading straight for for second breakfast. The first part of the route through the Rose Isle forest was lovely. Well, along the Moray coastal path to Birkhead. Really, really good path along the old railway line. In fact, it's tarmac. And then, through Birkhead and the caravan park, and then through the Rose Isle forest, which was lovely gravel, a little bit of sand in places. But I decided not to follow the Moray coastal path all the way to Findhorn because it crosses about 1.5 kilometres of dunes, and I think I would have been pushing, and I'm trying to beat the rain, so I don't want to spend the time doing that. So the next stop is going to be Forres at the Co-op for second breakfast. Alright, well, we're on the Dava Way now, on the final bit back to Grantown. Bit of fun and games navigating through Forres, trying to get over the railway line, but the good news was I was able to find a Greggs at a petrol station, which was open, because there's not a lot of cafes open before 9 AM in Forres, so I was able to get a bacon roll and refuel. I don't know where the Dava Way officially starts, but I picked it up in the centre of the town, and now I'm on to the old railway line, so it's just a case of following this all the way back to Grantown. Navigation should be very easy now. The weather is not too bad, it's the odd little shower around and sun's occasionally breaking through, but yeah, it should all be good from here. Just come on this diversion sign. I don't know what it means. It says use other footpath. I will carry on for a little bit and see. Well, the diversion was just for a bit of forestry work, but it's a Sunday and no one was working there, so I didn't have to double back. And we've come out the woods now into this clearing. It's lovely. There's hardly any wind. And it's dry and the sun's kind of breaking through. It's very muggy actually, quite sweaty. It's got quite a few K to go. So I'll probably do another 5K or so and then have another stop and a snack, and that'll leave me about 20K to go to Grantown. Unfortunately, it's climbing pretty much all the way until just before Grantown, but it's a gentle climb. Just stopped for a pause. We're at the 42k mark, leaving about 20 to go. It's 10:36 and it's still dry, but I just received a Met Office yellow warning of rain, so I think it's going to be quite wet this afternoon. So the early start was good. And starting to open out here, definitely climbing up. Just thought I'd stop here because this was really nice to see. A bench for Bruno Crawley, founder of the Dava Way. Thank you, Bruno. So what else? The going's improved quite a bit and it's faster. There was a long section where it was grass, kind of single track grass and a long wet grass, so my feet are absolutely soaked, and it was quite slow getting up that. And now, but we're moving along, so another hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. We're definitely getting there. Should be home for lunch. So we're up on the Dava Moor now. The trees are down below us, and it's not too far to the old Dava station and the summit. It's recovered very well, the moor. I'm not sure the fire that we had last summer came quite this far over, but it burned. In fact, if we look at the hillside up there, that's all fire damage from what was the UK's and is the UK's biggest ever wildfire. Started now, it is believed, by a flare from a Coast Guard training exercise at Loch-and-Dorb. The incredible thing is that there were no significant property damage, no houses were destroyed, no fences were destroyed, and trees. But the moor recovers. It was pretty apocalyptic in Grantown though when it was happening. The whole town was covered in smoke for a couple of days, and there were lots of volunteer state workers out fighting the fire, as well as the fire brigade, and I think there was a helicopter involved as well. But it was pretty crazy. Anyway, there's been a fabulous display of bog cotton this year, as it's all, the fire was really good for that, but it's past now, the bog cotton season. But the whole hillsides were white with fresh bog cotton growing. But it was all pretty crazy when it was happening. Anyway, not far to Davos Summit now, and from there it's a short, fast run down into Grantown. That's us at Davos Summit. What does it say? 1,052 feet above sea level. So that's what we've climbed up from Forres. Not far now. Just point out, right beside the road here, a set of bends. They're known as the Jesus Saves bends, because off in the distance there's a rock with Jesus Saves painted on it right after them, and it's a set of 3 very tight bends that people crash on regularly, and if you don't, you come around and go, oh, Jesus saves me. Oh, that's good to sit down. So, back at the ranch, and that was a really good ride. Brilliant mix of fast gravel, really quiet tarmac, good fire roads, and technical single track, bit of everything. The only 2 bits that were a bit harder were, probably because it was towards the end of the day, on the B road from Lossiemouth to Holtman. That wasn't great, just because it was busy and it was raining. And then before that, the kind of really pebbly track along from Kingston-on-Spey heading towards Lossiemouth. That was pretty hard going. It'd be interesting to, if I go back and maybe with a lighter bike or more time, just explore the Moray coastal path fully and work out what bits, some of the bits that I skipped, if they're rideable or not. I'm sure they are, but I just didn't want to waste an hour or 2 trying to find out. Really, really excellent 2-day mini adventure. Don't know what the total stats are. Must be in the region of 150 kilometres round trip, with maybe about 1,500 metres of climbing altogether. But I'll see what the Strava says. Anything that I've done differently with the kit? No, not really. The whole system worked really well. There was nothing particularly that I didn't use. I took some sort of wash kit in case I stayed in a campsite, but I didn't a wild camp, so. Other than that, all the clothing worked really well. layering was good. It was definitely warm. I didn't need much when I was riding. Yeah, one thing I found was can't keep my jacket under the bungees at the front because friction was rubbing the outer coating of the jacket off in one little spot on the hood, so I won't do that again. But everything else worked really good. I really liked having the rack with the dry bag on it instead of the seat pack. I had an Ortlieb seat pack, well, I've got an Ortlieb seat pack that I use as well, which is good, but it's a pain loading it and it's a pain mounting it. Whereas the seat rack and the bag just come straight off and then you get really quick access to your gear. The top tube bag with the phone and it's actually got a sleeve right beneath the sleeve for the phone with the sleeve for a power bank. That worked really, really well. That was, once I sussed that out, just got a little system, made sure that the screen didn't lock too quickly, so I set it for 10 minutes, screen lock. And that allowed me to have OS maps right in front of me, and really useful, particularly kind of navigating through towns and things like that. So that's a really good little bit of kit. That really happy with that. Yeah, and as for the bike, did the check out? It did. It's a monster of a bike. I can't believe how well it performs. I was worried that with these tyres it might not roll so quick on tarmac. It did a fair bit on tarmac. That's not the case at all. I was riding pretty fast on the tarmac. It climbs really well. It was agile on the single track. Didn't have any concerns on that. So it's a really good bike. Yeah, the dropper post, the bike has a mechanical dropper post, and I wondered whether that would be useful. And actually, on the technical single track coming off Benny yesterday, it was really useful. I don't think I would have ridden it with anywhere near as much confidence if it didn't have the dropper post. I mean, and the whole sort of weight penalty that comes with having suspension, sure, it's not the lightest gravel bike out there, but it is a comfortable gravel bike and smooth as fast. It's certainly a lot faster than my mountain bike. I've never ridden a gravel bike, and I wouldn't want to personally ride a gravel bike with no suspension on some of the trails it was on today, particularly the Dava Way, which is a lot of it is old sleeper ballast rock, which is pretty rough stuff, pretty bouncy. And for me, riding 40 kilometres of that with no suspension would be no fun at all. So yeah, altogether, it is absolutely perfect for bike packing, which is what it was designed for. So it's a winner. Mind you, have to say that I spent all this money on it. Anyway, no, it's great. I'm looking forward to putting it through some bigger rides. Badger Divide coming up, and yeah, now I need to get something to eat, and get clean, and get the bike clean. So that is me checking out.